Great pleasure to be here with Xavier Rudd. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
You're touring your sixth record, studio record anyway. You have a bunch of live releases, but specifically Koonyum Sun is your sixth record. And we were just talking about the mountain range. And tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this record.
Well, the title comes from where I was living when I recorded the albums, Koonyum Range, it means place of thunder and lightning, Koonyum, and it's a very sacred place. And I was observing the sun there, sinking behind the range and lighting up the range in the morning. Yeah, and spent a lot of time reflecting on life and the album and music up there. Yeah, the album's probably the most, it's probably my proudest work, I'll say, you know, like musically, it's the most inspirational musical collaboration I've ever had, playing with Tio and Andy.
Yeah, how did you meet them?
We met at a festival in Austria called Nuke Festival, and yeah, we just hit it off, you know, we had a strong mutual respect for musically, and then we, yeah, we just formed this great bond, and started playing about a year later. We rehearsed, and since we rehearsed, it was basically, it was, you know, it was no looking back. It was just perfect.
It's pronounced Izintaba,
yeah,
and that's the rhythm section, and that is Tio and Andy, right?
Yeah, that's Tio and Andy. Ever since they came along, they sort of came along at a time, you know, at a difficult time for me, and they also offered an amazing friendship, an amazing support, you know, and I always felt like whenever I'm with Tio and Andy, I feel like I'm standing on a mountain.
Right.
Like they're a solid base, you know, whether we're on stage musically or whether just as friends. And so when we're in the studio, I wanted to find a word for that, or, you know, so I rang Andele's wife, and she's Zulu, and I asked her if she could give me some words for like triangle or mountains, and one of the words she came back with was Izintaba, which meant mountains.
Right.
And I was like, that's the one.
I guess it's a rebirth for you. I mean, this record and sort of moving along from whatever personal issues you had and setting those aside, and I mean, you reflect on them in several songs, which must be quite the task to put pen to paper and actually write about some of these issues. But it's a new record that sounds very fresh, whether it's the fact that Tio and Andy are on the record, or that you've so proud of the work that you've done, but it must be refreshing too to just come out with this new record, because Dark Shades of Blue sort of saw you differently, and it wasn't the Xavier that everybody had known, right?
Yeah, it was interesting, Dark Shades of Blue, and you know, my music comes from another place, I think, you know, and whatever it is, I've always had a rule that I don't really involve my mind. I just let it come through. If it comes through my heart, and I respect whatever it is, wherever it is it comes from, and I just let it be. I don't start to involve ego or mind or alter anything. I just let it come. And Dark Shades of Blue was an interesting record for me, you know. Like I didn't really understand it, but now I do. I understand it a little better, you know, and I feel like my music's always ahead of me, or my spirits, my ancestors are ahead of me, carving my path. And I think that Dark Shades of Blue was a storm that was about to hit, and that was unexpected. And this record is more like the calm after, and the symbol that things are meant to be, and our journeys, or my journey, is very profound, and something that's very heavy, and something that I may never really understand, but something that I need to respect. And I feel brand new, yeah. I feel I've got a whole new with this record and with this whole thing I'm doing and now playing live and being on the other side of my personal changes, I feel I have a different energy about me on stage. I feel great, and I feel open, and I feel really excited. It's like a new decade. It's a new beginning, and
Yeah.
it's great, you know.
Set me free, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I was. Yeah, I needed to be free, and now I'm free. Yeah.
How's the touring been so far?
Great. Yeah, it's cool. We're a week in. We're just sort of still jumbling the set list, trying to find, you know, some good flow. But it's people seem to be really happy and stoked with the shows, and we're having fun. And yeah, we've got a long year ahead, so it's good.
Do you think an artist of your ilk, who is not from North America but tours extensively here, relies, or how important is social media like Facebook and like, you know, MySpace to your career and what you do?
It's super important, you know. Like I've always been an independent artist, and yeah, I mean, it's been hugely helpful for me, the internet. You know, I remember going through America when I first went in through America. You know, people would record my shows. They just tape my shows and then they'd put it up on the internet and pass it around. And
Right.
that was how I gathered my. You know, I'd go back to the town again, and next thing the show was full. You know, because of that.
Right.
So, as a live artist, it was imperative for getting word out there. And still, you know, these days, you know, it's become a bigger operation now, and we have other marketing tools, but the internet's still really important, and yeah, I think it's a really good thing for musicians starting out. You know, they can use the internet, whereas in the past people couldn't. They relied on record companies.